Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cub Chat Live. We are joined by good friend of the show, Jason Melton. Jason, what do you got on your face?
We're going swimming.
We are going swimming. This is many Cub Scouts' favorite activity, and we're talking about how swimming factors into our Cub Scout electives. Is that right, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely. So much like the ones I've talked about in the past, we're going to talk about how to run the swimming elective adventure as a unit, right? Like across your pack, and how to organize that as one outing, and how we check all the boxes and get everybody their loop and have a great time doing it.
As always, we have a wonderful presentation to walk through in just a second. A quick shout out to Pack 320 in New Berlin, Illinois. Hello, Cody and Cub Scout Pack 51. Hello, Pack 84 and our regular viewer, Rusty. And hello, Cody from the new Cub Scout Pack 51. Yay! Congrats, Cody. Today's going to be a really good episode for you. If you're watching right now, feel free to tag somebody in the comments who you think could benefit from watching today's show. After we're live, this video will stay up for at least 30 days if you're watching on Facebook, and for longer if you're on YouTube. You can also catch past episodes of all of our Cub Chat Lives. You can see episodes coming up, all that jazz, at a URL that we're about to put up on the bottom of the screen, I think. And if not, we'll be putting it up shortly. But you can find all that on, scoutingmagazine.org/CubChatLive. Thank you behind the scenes, Brian, for pivoting and putting that up for us quickly. Okay, Jason, without further ado, take it away.
Yeah, so swimming, right? Like, I would say, at least my Cub Scout, the three things she likes doing most are camping, swimming, and fishing, not necessarily in that order. And today we're going to talk about swimming and how we can run that as a pack, especially as a small pack.
Very cool. So when you say small pack, what do we mean?
So like, we talk about this at the national committee level a lot. I'm the weirdo. I have a pack. I'm in a pack of like over 100 Cubs. It's ridiculous. It's a lot. Like, we're big. Most packs are like 30-ish. And so, like, to me, a small pack is, less than 30. But you could run this at any level. You're just going to need to scale up a lot.
Yeah, so are there different considerations if we're talking about a pack of 30 versus 100? Maybe we're going to get into that. You can tell me.
We are going to get into that. We'll talk about the differences, at least for swimming, and what you need as far as adult leaders and training as we get through the slides.
Very good. So on our first slide, I know there's some shared resources that we share pretty much every episode of Cub Chat Live.
Yeah. So if you are aware of all of the resources that for the program rollout that happened this last year, awesome. This slide is not for you. This is your first time, that QR code will take you to a whole bunch of resources that'll help make delivering the program simple and fun, just a little bit easier as a leader. And then we'll have some more stuff that I think got talked about last week, how we're rolling out some new stuff after National Annual Meeting, that all of these presentations are going to be in an adventure format where it's a planner that makes it really easy, right? Like, you could run this planner as a pack, hand one of these activity cards to a parent and say, hey, do you mind running this as a station? And that way, if you don't have the time or the creativity, or you're a brand new leader who's never done this before, it'll be easier to deliver the program and kind of get your feet wet and ease into it.
Yeah, stay with us as we roll out all of the news in that front. Very cool. Yeah, again, you can pull out your device, scan this QR code, and you'll be heading to scouting.org in no time.
And of course, the most important part of doing swimming, if you hit my next slide, all those happy faces. Man, I have never seen a kid look grumpy while swimming. Sometimes you're sitting in the car and the kid's in the back seat just going, they're not impressed, right? Nothing but smiles when you're swimming, and I love that.
Yeah, actually, I agree. That's a stumper. I was trying to think, have I? I don't think so. You're right. Water works. Actually,
yeah.
Maybe my toddler, when I first take her to swim classes, isn't always into it, but she doesn't stay sad. She ends up getting into it. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody loves. Well, I don't know about everybody. There's always exceptions to the rule. Almost everybody loves being in the water. I love being in the water.
Yeah, it's a huge and exciting event. Okay, so next up, this is something else that's going to look familiar to a lot of our folks, but make sure to read carefully here because we're talking about swimming today.
Yeah, so this is kind of the start of our planner. And this is what, after National Annual Meeting, there'll be a much prettier version of this out there for people to get. But we want to make sure that, you can hit all the requirements. We kind of tell you where you need to go look at a training or brush up on a skill. And so, like, number one on this is safe swim defense. And I know I talked about it a little bit when we did paddle sports. So if you were here for that, we talked about safe swim defense and safety afloat. They're two trainings that you don't have to take as a leader unless you're doing these aquatic activities. And they're really good. There's an online module for both of them, but if your council offers it in person, it's so much better to take it in person. I've done both. I did the online modules, and then I had the opportunity in our council to do an in-person. And even having taken the virtual training just a couple of months before, I still had questions that it was great to be able to ask our council's aquatics director, like, hey, Candy, can you tell me, like, can we go more in depth on that? Because I don't really understand. And it's nice to have that, somebody who can get you the answer. If not right away, they'll get back to you, right? And it's a good opportunity.
Very good. So both the adult leaders and if you have an AOL den, you need to be reviewing the safe swim defense.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the requirements they have for their swimming adventure is they have to review safe swim defense, and they don't have to go through the training, but they do need to review the policy on it. One of the other things they have to do is learn how to treat hypothermia. It's part of their adventure, and it's good to have as an adult as well. And then your Cub Master needs to secure a swimming location. Lifeguard is optional. We'll talk about that. It's strongly preferred. I would much rather have a lifeguard than have to have parents kind of take over that role. And then make sure you've got your med form A and B and your permission slips. So to talk a little bit about the pool, because this is going to be a question I know people are going to ask, is where do we go to the pool, right? Not everybody has easy access to a pool, and there's a lot of resources in your community you can reach out to. So the first one that comes to my mind is the YMCA. Our PAC has a great relationship with our local Y, and we use their pool all the time. But maybe your community YMCA isn't like that. Maybe you reach out to your high school, especially if you're in the north. Most of the high schools in the up north, not like us Southerners, have indoor pools because they can't have them outside. And so the school might be a good opportunity for your PAC to go and do these aquatic activities. Or if you have a community pool that one of the parents or, one of your leaders has access to, maybe that's your route. So just kind of look around your community, see who you can partner up with, because there's a lot of opportunities for pools. And you say, hey, our Cub Scout PAC needs to use one. Your council is also a good opportunity. Most camps have one. It might not be super close to you, but if it's convenient, that's a good opportunity as well.
Yeah, so what calls to mind for me is, like, I can think there's a city athletic center that has one near us. A lot of times your recreation centers, I probably regionally it's so different as to, where's the pool everyone's going to. Andrea has a question calling back the safe swim defense. Again, we're here in the section where we're talking about what do you do prior to a PAC meeting? How long is the safe swim defense online training? Could we do it in a committee meeting?
That's a good question. It's been a minute since I've taken it. I think it's about 45 minutes to an hour. It's been about 9 months since I've taken it. So it wasn't terribly long, but it wasn't super short either. It wasn't like a 15-minute module. So you could probably do it in a committee meeting if that's something that you plan ahead of time and people know, like, bring your water bottle, bring a snack. We're going to do this training and get everybody checked off.
Yeah, you could make that fun, bring some popcorn and maybe do a paper agenda for any other items that you were wanting to address, because that could be, take up some time. Very cool. Hello, Tamara. Thanks for tuning in. Troop 391 in Lancaster, California. Thanks for watching. Hello, PAC 134. And hello, PAC 3310 in Akron, Ohio. Thanks for tuning in again. Okay, again, if you, as you're looking at this, if it's your first time watching, we were talking about the steps prior to a PAC meeting that you're going to be taking as we address different swimming adventures. Now are we getting into the gathering activity?
So yeah, and the prior to PAC meeting it could be a separate meeting. It could also just be, hey, AOLs, show up 15 minutes before everybody else so we can run through this. You don't have to run it as a separate meeting. It's just sometime before the activity. And so the gathering activity, we actually have a card further down that we'll get to. Everything else that we talk about, there's an activity available online right now that you can use to do this. The swimming safety relay is something that the national committee created inside the last couple months to satisfy a gathering like as a good gathering activity that also checks off a couple of the requirements. So this is in the slideshow, and we've also got a PDF of it that'll be available after the show in with the slideshow.
Yeah, we'll give you a link to be able to download slides and resources. There it is, guidingmagazine.org/CubChatLive. Tamara offers a clarification that safe swim defense is 26 minutes. That's short.
26 minutes.
So that definitely could include in a committee meeting. Very good. Okay.
Yeah, so let's move on to the fun.
Yeah, some stations.
So swim test. If you've never taken a swim test, they can be fun. A lot of your dens have a requirement to take a swim test, and it's really kind of the top half, the lions, tigers, and wolves. It's not required that they take a swim test, but it's still good to introduce them to that concept of, swimming levels and figure out if they can or they can't. Not everybody has the same level of swim experience at the same age and grade. Like my daughter's been in swim lessons since she was little, but there are kids her age that can't swim yet. So you kind of have to meet the kids at the level that they're at. And this is a tough one. If you are in a community where you don't have a lot of water and swimming isn't really big, maybe swimming's not the elective that you guys do. But, I grew up on a lake. I got thrown in the water when I was a kid and didn't have an option.
Well, I also think what matters so much too is time of year when we're talking about kids, because I think kids emerge from the summer, a lot of them, and are pretty confident in water, but they maybe haven't been around it for a whole few seasons once we get to spring, and sometimes they're weaker, their abilities just need a little dusting off. So yeah.
Right.
Good point.
And so all your dens are going to attempt the swim test, including how to get in and out of the pool. And then our next station is a relay race, which there's an adventure card that's not included, but it's there. It's a tiger adventure. If you use the QR code all the way up at the top, there's one of the tiger adventures that has a great swimming relay race. And then the last station is everybody's just going to free swim. There's a little bit of requirements there, and make sure you do your buddy checks that you as a leader will call out. That's a requirement for all your older youth to have those and respond back. And then your wolves have to jump into the water feet first, as long as it's chest high or deeper. And then you can close up with a Cub Master minute and make sure you've cleaned up, packed up, and left it better than you found it.
Very good. So peek behind the scenes. We have lost our behind the scenes Brian momentarily. I think he just got back on. Very good. So we lost our presentation, but he's back on. That's commitment. He's working through internet outages. Very good. Right. So yeah, so we've got through this slide, right? We should talk through our stations, the jump feet. Yes, very, very
yeah.
Good.
So we'll talk about the swim classification test a little more in depth on this next slide.
Very good.
So that QR code will take you to the aquatics section of the Guide to Safe Scouting, and it's on the next handful of slides because it's important, right? Like anytime, even if I'm going on an activity and we need, and I haven't looked at it in a while, I will go brush up on, aquatic safety or whatever, so that it's in the top of my memory, right? Like, oh, it's been a couple months since I looked at that. Let me go make sure I'm fresh. So your swim test can be administered by any conscientious adult. It's good to have it's up to your Cub Master, or in the case of a troop, your Scout Master, who they'll allow to administer those. But I could do it. Your den leader could do it. Your Cub Master could do it. If you have a lifeguard or a BSA lifeguard or a Red Cross lifeguard or a water rescue instructor or a swim coach, all of those people are great resources to help you administer this swim test. The water has to be over their head in depth because they actually want to swim, not walk on the bottom. And they have to have a decent amount of room in the pool. So the full swim test that I think Bears, Webelos, and AOLs have to do is you need to really have 25 yards, because they're doing about 100 yards of swimming, 75 of active swimming and 25 of restful, which is the next piece. It's a lot of swimming, and talk your kids into it ahead of time, right? A lot of kids think it's a sprint and they will go all out at front and wear themselves out. There's not a time limit on the swim test. You can take a little bit of time and do it.
Right. And that is not 25 years, but meters.
Ah, no, I fixed we
We've
fixed
done,
it in the other one.
yeah,
And it's yards, not years. I wouldn't
yards,
want to.
yards.
25 years is a lot of swimming. Ah,
I
we
mean, you're
fixed
going
that
to
in
be
the
safe.
last one.
You can do the 25 years. You're going to be good. No, 25 yards for
25
clarification. Yeah.
yards, not
Sorry.
years. Good
It's a lot
catch.
of information. No, very good. Okay. Yeah, that's nothing. It makes me want to jump in a pool and see if I can do it myself, to be honest. So,
So
okay. Now on to safe swim defense.
Yeah. So all your adult, so you have to have at least one adult leader with safe swim defense. They are your adult supervisor, and that's the term that Guide to Safe Scouting uses. They have to have had it within the last 2 years. So for now, as of today, it's just like YPT, right? Like you got to take it every so often for it to be fresh because it updates and changes periodically. We want to make sure everybody's kind of up to date. Even if they have lifeguards, you have to have at least one safe swim defense trained person. And you need to have one lifeguard for every 10 participants. So BSA or Red Cross or another organization lifeguard, or 2 adult rescue personnel for every 10 participants. And a rescue personnel is just somebody who can swim in your unit that's an adult. So I could be a rescue personnel. You could be rescue personnel.
Very good. And so for lifeguards, we're talking about registered lifeguards, right? Like it's not like we have our own scouting age limit for that, perhaps, right? So technically you could have older scouts who are lifeguards, which many are present and might be really fun for the Cub Scouts also.
Yeah, that's a good opportunity to engage your troop too. If you have a den chief that's a lifeguard, or even just somebody in your associated troop, this is a good opportunity to help build that relationship between your units.
Very good. So then the flip side, we kind of hinted at this earlier. If you didn't have a lifeguard,
yeah, you can just you can have rescue personnel, which are just adults that know how to swim and are on the lookout, so they can't be doing something else, right? Like you can't have one of your rescue personnel also in charge of teaching one of these activities or, playing on their phone. They have to be watching the water, making sure the kids are safe.
Sure. Okay. So minimum, there we go.
Yeah, and so that's our next one. So when lifeguards are not present, you need to have rescue personnel trained in safe swim defense. So those rescue personnel do also have to take safe swim defense. So if you have a lifeguard, you only need one. If you don't have a lifeguard, you got to have more than one. And then you have an adult supervisor who's usually your Cub master or whoever's in charge of the event, that their job is to make sure everybody has an area of responsibility. So, Jason, you're going to watch this side of the pool. Gina, you're going to watch that side of the pool. Or you're going to watch the younger kids. You're going to watch the older kids because they're in separate spaces. And make sure, we have the right rescue equipment, that there's life rings or throw ropes or whatever it is we need, as outlined in the Aquatic Supervision Manual, which afterwards, that's a clickable link for folks. And you have to have at least 2 rescue personnel for every 10 participants. So for the first 10, you have 2. If you have 11 kids, you have to have 3. If you have 19 kids, you have to have 3. If you have 20, you have to have 4.
Okay.
So it increases. So every 10 kids you add to the top of that, well, I guess it'd be up to 20 would only need 3. So 21 through 30 and so on, you'd add another rescue personnel. So if you're a small pack of 20, you only need 3. If you're a big pack of 100, you're going to need a lot of rescue personnel.
Sure. Okay. Well, thanks for clearing that up. And like you said earlier, you'd prefer to have lifeguards though, right?
It makes it easier, right? Because not only are they trained to look out for signs of drowning, they're also usually CPR trained as well, which is handy to have.
Right.
And so it's not a requirement. I would recommend, if you're doing this, to have somebody that's CPR trained. It is not a written requirement. So you do not have to actually do that, but that is probably best practice.
Sure. I think that's great advice from a real boots on the ground volunteer. Going back a little bit too, Gabby said, contact your OA lodge. They may know of scouts who are lifeguards. That's great advice as well.
Yeah, get some of that cheerful service.
Okay. Next up, we're talking about the swim area. Sorry.
Yeah. So everything else we've talked about, and for the rest of this, I'm assuming that as a unit, you're using a pool. You can do your swimming activities in a a river or any body of flat water. So if you have a flat water section of your river or a lake or an appropriate pond to swim in, there's extra stuff to keep in mind. If we cover that, we might as well give you safe swim defense training online, but I can't sign all your training cards from Virginia, wherever you guys may be. So we're not going to talk about these today. If you are going to hold this activity not at a pool, these are some of the things you have to check, and they are in the aquatics guide on what you have to look for. So just to call out, like, we're not going to go in depth and talk about water turbidity and the clarity and the temperature and
Sure.
do it in a pool. Do it in a pool. You don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Very good. Speaking of
pools, there's some more excited kids, right? Like, look at all those kids. They look super excited to be there. I'm excited to be here. I would be excited to be there.
Yeah, it looks so fun. So we got an outdoor pool and an indoor pool there.
Yeah, one in the Pacific Northwest and then one up in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Maine? Massachusetts? Massachusetts.
I think Massachusetts. Let us know.
Maryland's MD.
Back too.
Maryland's MD.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I guess that's Massachusetts.
Yeah, very cool. Also makes sense why it would be indoors there, very cold. I'm sure there's outdoor pools too. Okay, so now when we're kind of drilling down into the actual electives per rank, right? Or sorry, adventures per rank.
Yeah, and we're just going to touch on these really briefly. So this is here as a resource if you choose to use this planner before they come out at NAMM. This is to tell you kind of where you're checking the box. So before you get in the water and making sure that everybody meets the requirements and that you have them all listed out so you can check it off. And so our next one is the actual swim test and what it checks off. So, your lions, tigers, and wolves don't have to learn about the swimming ability groups. They don't have to actually attempt the swim test. They just have to learn how to get in and out of the water. Your older youth actually need to attempt the swim test. And in the bear's case, it's just the beginner swim test, which is pretty easy. And learn about the swimming ability groups at water appropriate depths, which they also cover as part of safe swim defense. So
cool.
And then we've got our activity card. Yeah. So this is our gathering activity. No, this isn't the gathering activity. This is the gathering activity is the Wolf Adventure card. The relay is this. So these are kind of all the things you're going to need to do that relay race and check all the boxes for all these different kids at the same time. And so it's got a before the meeting section, which we mostly cover in the planner that we've been through. And during the meeting is actually what you're going to do for them to check that box. So, divide them up into groups, explain that your lions and tigers are going to be using a kickboard. They're going to blow bubbles from point A to B. The wolves are going to learn one stroke. And then your older youth have to tread water, learn rescues, all sorts of other fun stuff.
Okay. Sorry, I'm multitasking now, advancing.
No worries. And so there's the swim relay race, which that'll check all the boxes for this. And then, oh no.
Are you seeing the slides?
I am.
Sorry, technical difficulty, viewers.
No, you're good. So this one, I forgot to update the title on the slide. This one's actually Station 3, the free swim station. Oh no, the slide went away. Gina went away too. So your last one, when it comes back, will be the free swim station, which is the most fun, right? It's just go swim. For lions, tigers, it's just swim with your partner for 20 minutes. Wolves, it's for 30 minutes, and they also need to jump feet first into water that's chest deep or higher. And then everybody else, it's swim, use the buddy system, and do buddy checks. And have fun, right? That's the unwritten requirement for all of them, is to have fun. And then We've got some more pictures of kids having a great time at the pool. So thanks to Pack 1550 in Spring, Texas, and Pack 870 in Clear Lake, Texas. They're having a great time at the pool. And then some resources to check out. So we've got all of the den meeting resources we talked about in the beginning. That'll be a link to aquatic safety, the swim classification record for if they do actually pass their swim test. You've got everything you need there. The aquatic supervision guide, which the QR code will take you to, and always important. You don't need it if it's indoor, but hazardous weather's always good, especially since it now accurately reflects in your training record as a required training. So if you haven't taken that recently, I believe that expires every year. And I don't have anything else unless Gina comes back. And thank you all for coming. Swim safely, y'all. Make sure that you're having a great time, but doing so in a safe manner. And I can't see any questions. Otherwise, I'd answer them if I had them.
So this is unusual, Jason. This is Brian behind the scenes. Looks
Hi,
like
Brian.
everybody in DFW is having some difficulty today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but it looks like Gina's back, and sorry for all the craziness. You've done a great job today.
No worries. No worries.
Gina's back to help you conclude the show. So.
Hi, unprecedented. Did behind the scenes Brian just make an appearance on Cub Chat? Wow, that's never been done before. So sorry. Jason's a pro. These things happen. We really are live. Did we finish? Did I miss the whole thing?
We finished. We're all done. Are there any questions we missed?
Yeah. Okay. So, Roaming Scouter says, excellent topic for those going to camp this year. Andrea says, bye and thank you. Yeah, we got some great clarifications on state abbreviations from Gabby. Thank you. And Tamara says, great job. She must mean you, Jason. Really great. Any other takeaways we need to make sure we share with the audience before we let everybody go?
Thanks for everything that you do. I know I say it a lot, but this program doesn't work without great volunteers like you guys who are watching. You're what make the program work for your kids in your unit. So keep being awesome and keep it up, right? Like tell a friend about Cub Chat Live, tell a friend about Roundtable. Let me put my Roundtable commissioner hat on. Go to Roundtable. It's awesome. You'll meet new people.
Very cool. Yeah, you're proof of that. You stuck with us today through all this. And everybody, still be sure to tag somebody in the comments. This is a great episode, really good resources. And for longtime fans of the show, this would be a real chance to tag somebody and say, hey, you can finally hear the voice of behind the scenes, Brian. So thank you, everybody.
The man, the myth, the legend. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure to catch next week's episode. Same time, same place. And let us know how we're doing at go.scoutingmagazine.org/rate-cubchat. We love feedback and ideas for new episodes. And you can visit blog.scoutingmagazine.org/cubchatlive for all our past video episodes. You can see us live. Except it's recorded, but it was live. Okay, see you next week.